Starting with the hands, we'll comb through the alignment of plank pose. The hands are shoulder width apart, and I recommend having the index fingers point forward. This helps keep the shoulder blades spread on the back and the triceps hugging to the midline. When the index fingers are pointed inward, we're more likely to bend the elbows sideways when we lower to chaturanga, and it doesn't set us up for as much success when we move into poses like down dog and such, because what can happen is those shoulders squeeze in. We want to keep the shoulder blades spread, and so turning the hands out just a little bit, index finger forward, tends to help with that. But if you're most comfortable with the wrist creases in line with the front of your mat, that's fine too. We just want to make sure the triceps are hugging in and the palms hug toward the midline, so the biceps engage. Now the grounding of the hands, first and foremost, we're mostly grounding through the base of the index finger and the webbing between the index finger and thumb. Then we ground the base of the middle, ring, and pinky finger. And the weight is moving forward in the hands into the fingertips, and the fingertips press down. The shoulders are not behind the wrists, they're not over the wrists, they're over the palm. The reason we keep the shoulders over the palm is that it helps move the weight forward in our hand. When the shoulder is over the wrist or behind, it's more likely that we'll dump into the base of the wrist. So by stacking the shoulder over the palm, we're more likely to continue with that forward reach of energy. It's better supportive for the wrist. With the hand, you have two options. I recommend grounding the thick knuckle that connects the finger to the palm. If you take your hand forward and place another palm on top, and you lift the hand, you can feel some muscles engage in the forearm. And then when you curl the fingers in, you'll feel more muscles engage. When we do this and we have our hand grounded, we want to feel like we're pushing the floor away, and we want to make a fist, but that sticky mat is stopping us. Go ahead and place your hand beside you. Press that thick knuckle that connects the fingers to the palms down and feel the engagement in your forearm. It's intense, and instantly you'll probably even see that base of the wrist lift up. Still, arm balancers and inverters in gymnastics like to curl that knuckle up. They make sure though that when they curl that knuckle up, the base of the index finger does not lift. If we're not careful, that can lift too. And there we go, dumping into our wrist. So if you choose to curl that knuckle up, which can help with dexterity and inversions and arm balances, you want to just be sure you're hugging the fingers in toward the center of your palm, and you're grounding that thick knuckle. Everybody is hugging the arms to the midline, engaging the biceps. Next, we'll discuss what's happening in the shoulders. I'm going to offer three main options. The most restorative version is when the shoulders are drawn together in the back body. So we're retracting the shoulders as we hug them to the midline. This creates more space at the front of the shoulder and can be useful for frontal shoulder injury. We just want to make sure we're keeping the core hugged in, because what can happen there is the belly drops. So we want to keep the belly lifting as we draw the shoulder blades together and lengthen the spine forward. What I practice is having the shoulder blades spread, but not overly spread. So they're protracted, and these muscles right underneath here are hugging into the body. So we have the triceps hugging in and the serratus turned on as the shoulder blades are spread. But to prevent over-rounding the back, there's a feeling of the thoracic spine or the sternum chest forward. So from that plank position I have, everybody is thinking of these muscles hugging in. So the front ribs press up to the ceiling. My shoulder blades spread, so they're mostly flat on the back, but for most of us, that might be like a 1/4 of an inch lifted. It's common for there to be some shoulder blade winging. Physical therapists won't love it. It's alright. So from the plank pose, the spine lengthens forward, the shoulder blades spread as I push the floor away and lift my upper belly to the spine. Then the gymnastic style is with that big rounding in the upper back. This is for postures like planche, where you're doing a plank pose with no feet on the floor. There's maximal engagement of the core and their butt is engaged. In yoga, we usually don't engage the butt in this pose, but if you like to, if you want to have that extra engagement and lift, feel free. As far as the tilting of the pelvis, we can keep a natural curve in the back, or if you're someone who prefers to invert an arm balance, it might be helpful to lengthen the tailbone to the knees. This lift of the low belly helps engage and strengthen the core more. So from my plank, balls of the feet stack underneath the heels. I push the floor away. I lift the low belly. I press the upper belly to the back body. My style is chest forward, gymnastic style, super rounding. The inner thighs are engaged in either case, and you can choose to have the knees down or lifted. So the inner thighs hug to the midline. The feet can be hip-width apart or together. And as we engage the inner thighs to midline, there's a feeling of the inner arch of the feet lifting up through the inseam, through the pelvic floor, up, 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 and then extending the crown of the head, the top of the head forward. Let's do this. Hands stack underneath the shoulders, feet step back, ball of the foot underneath the heel. I'm going to have my feet together, inner thighs engage. I push the floor away. So a common mistake is hanging in the shoulders. We want to be lifted, or if you're choosing the retracted variation, have that serratus hugging in here. Feel that you're actively drawing the shoulder blades together on your back body. We're bringing as much awareness to as many parts of the body as possible so that we're more alive with our body and present in this pose that we do so often, and also so we can receive more of the benefits of the pose. There are so many different options. So as there's the retracting, there's the neutral position, there's the gymnastics. This one is best for nourishing the system, I would say, opening up the collarbones. It's a little bit easier. This one, for me, feels the safest. It's how a PT would recommend that you do plank pose. This guy builds the most strength. You can engage the glutes or not. Everybody has the hands hugging to the midline, the feet hugging to the midline. All right? You got it? Go forth and enjoy receiving all the juicy benefits of the plank pose of your choice.